We call it Thistle Farms because thistles are survival weeds. Thistles grow through concrete. They survive drought. I survived the abuse, the rapes, the beatings. I survived the addiction. So I'm a survivor. And the women at Thistle Farms come in from all sorts of families. Our stories are more alike than different. My story is not any better or any worse than anyone else's story.
I went from having my own place to living out of a car in the Walmart parking lot to like being trapped in this back room where this person could kill me and nobody would know. He would say that. He was like, if I was to kill you, nobody would know. And it's true. It's so true. Nobody would know.
My mother had the love. My father, it was a different story. He was an alcoholic and it was abusive. I had uncles and there was sexual assault as well.
And there was a lot of abuse in my home, physically, sexually. I quickly turned to drugs.
I was in addiction for 20-some odd years, and I started dealing with abandonment. And then one thing led to another. I went from snorting cocaine to smoking, and the smoking part is what really got a grip on me.
He beat me so bad that I went bald on the back of my head, the top, lost a little bit of hair. And that is when I was like, I'm done. Like, I cannot live like this. Like, I cannot live like this anymore. I just can't do it. I am already dead. I'm just breathing somehow, but I'm already dead.
It was impossible for me to get clean in the same community that I used in. So all the attempts to get clean, and when I was really, really hopeful, and I would go to different halfway houses, it just wasn't enough for me.
Until I became a resident at Magdelen Thistle Farms, where it addresses everything that you've thought that was pulling you down and why and how, and help you build it back up again.
At Thistle Farms, we believe that women deserve a second chance at life. But the amazing thing to me is many of the women we serve, this is their first chance at life. None of the women we serve at Thistle Farms ended up on the streets by themselves. It took a whole bunch of broken systems and broken communities that rolled out a red carpet to the streets, to the juvenile jails, and then to prison.
But when the women came into the residential program, they were getting clean, they were getting their lives back, going to court, getting their records expunged, getting relationships back with their families, but they were dirt poor. We lose everything we own in our addictions. So when they went out to look for jobs, nobody would hire us because of our background. So Becca Stevens started Thistle Farms, the social enterprise. So there we make bath and body products. And on the back of every product, it'll say heal, employ, empower. And it will say this lotion is made by the women of Thistle Farms. The women make it, the very women that make the product benefit from it.
The model is pretty simple. Come live for 2 years rent-free with no authority living in the house. If women have space and time to heal and they have a good job, they do amazing recovery work. We can help them achieve economic independence, which is a critical tool on anyone's journey of recovery. Not only do they heal themselves, but they heal their families and the broken systems that help put them there on the streets. I think all of it works because this is about community, about women finding community and finding their place so that they can do the work they need for healing.
Thistle Farms healed me, they employed me, and they empowered me.
I can actually feel today, and like they say, you gotta feel and heal. If it wasn't for Thistle Farms, I don't think I would even know how to process the feeling part, much less be able to heal from it.
Without Thistle Farms, I would be in the grave. I would be dead. I am a new woman. I am alive.
There is a greater good, and the more you love, the more God loves you. I bought into Love Heals.
I know the ending of my story now. So yes, I am so happy and I am so grateful.
Since 1997, Thistle Farms has helped hundreds of women through our residential programs, through our justice social enterprises, and we have helped thousands of women across the globe find work, find community, and find avenues for healing. Our goal right now is to continue to grow the movement, to continue to grow, and to invite you to join us in this great mission that we're on. We believe that love heals, and we believe love is the most powerful force for change in the world. Hi, everybody. It's Becca, and I am so happy you're joining us for International Women's Day. Woo! I'm here with two amazing women, Maneet and Tanya, who I'm going to introduce in just a minute. I'm the founder and president of Thistle Farms. It's a global community of women. We're all about freedom. We are about love and healing, about all of us coming together to support one another alongside each other as we are trying to find our way to wholeness. And there's no better way to do it than to take a seat, to sip a cup of tea, and remember that justice can be a way of life, that the small things we do can make a big difference. We've been drinking tea for more than 2 decades at Thistle Farms. And it's probably the reason that I'm still so energetic and ready to go all the time is I'm a huge tea lover. I appreciate its history, its connections to the oppression and freedom of women, its ability to call us to ritual, and its ability to usher in peace in times of chaos, let's say pandemics. And so without further ado, what I want you to know is that today what we're going to do is we're going to have a 4-part simple tea ceremony that Maneet and Tanya are going to join us to walk through us. They are amazing hosts. They know about hospitality and the gift of tea. So just stay with us. If you've already started drinking your tea, don't worry. But if not, hang on. We're going to be right there. So for first, I want to introduce Tanya. I met Tanya at a hospitality conference, and she swore she would drink a cup of tea with me one day. And we drank our first cup of tea about 6 months ago. And she is, I don't want to say hero because that sounds so weird. I'm just in love with her. How about that? I just want to dance with her. I want to drink tea with her. Tanya, tell us about what you're doing and what you've come to bring on the hospitality front to celebrate Women's International Day.
Has not been filled for over a year, although we're still here and we are doing takeout and outdoor dining until we can safely serve our guests indoors, which I can't wait. Serving people and anticipating their needs is one of my favorite things to do. Another one of my favorite things to do is to travel and experience other cultures and learn about them through food and beverage. And I had the good fortune of being able to travel to Kazakhstan in 2015. And so I am drinking from a tea set that this wonderful woman gave me in Kazakhstan. And it's just beautiful, really lightweight china. Came with a gold plated spoon. And it feels very special. I have not used it yet. And today just seemed very appropriate. That was a moment where, I think, here was this woman in this culture that's so different from mine. And she thought this would be a great way to connect, is to just share a traditional vessel for drinking tea. And so I bring that today and some green tea I have at the restaurant. And I'm so excited to hang out with both you, Becca and Maneet. Maneet and I go back a ways too. We've also danced together and probably drink a cup of tea. Definitely had a glass of wine, but we share our love for providing an experience for people.
That is amazing. And your restaurant's in Oakland, California.
Yeah.
And have you been able to continue to do a lot of your amazing stuff on OWN TV and all that other beautiful things you're doing? Is that all still happening?
Well, the OWN show was recorded and aired at the end of the year, and excuse me, it's still available on streaming, which is great. My podcast, the second season, which Maneet was a guest. I don't think your episode has aired yet, right? No, you would know. I would tell you. I'm just like trying to keep up myself. But we recorded them all. We finished in the beginning of the year, and so they're airing in the next few weeks. We'll finish up. And working on my next cookbook, and there's always plenty to do. It's just endless to do, and right now it takes longer and more effort to do certain things that we used to do. But, you know, we're all still making it happen.
That is awesome. So Maneet Chauhan, who is also in Nashville, Tennessee, but has made her way in the world today, takes everything she's got. What is that from? Get away. Oh, it's Cheers. It's the theme song from Cheers, I'm remembering. She has just embodied hospitality. And right when Tanya and I began to talk about this tea party, we knew that we would love to invite her. And she told us the story about her father, who was a manager at a tea estate in India, and how some of her first experiences with tea were right there on the estate. And I just want to welcome you and just say, what's going on in your life and what are you doing to celebrate International Women's, let's say, Year?
Thank you so much. I mean, I'm so excited to be here with, you know, the two of you and with all the people who've joined. It's actually my uncle who was a tea estate manager. But to me, tea has been such an integral part of growing up in India. India is the second largest, producer of tea. And each and every nook and corner, each and every street has a chai wala or a chai wali. That is a person who's making tea and selling tea. And the funnest part is that in India, especially when I was growing up, tea was served in these earthen pots, which were not glazed. And it was something, like this. When I was in India, I went and I got this. And taking a sip of this tea was this incredible experience where not only would you get just the mixture of the spices or the milk or has been brewed with, but also just a touch of the land. And it was incredible. And one of the most amazing memories that I was telling you was my uncle was a tea estate manager. And if you guys have seen photographs of the tea pickers in India, they have this band over their head and that is attached to a basket right behind them. And the reason why they do it is that when they are plucking the tea leaves, they can throw it back in the basket. So I was quite a handful of a kid. I know it's tough to kind of, seeing me right now, people wouldn't believe it. But what we would do is every time that we would go to the tea estates, my uncle would give us that basket and say, why don't you go and pluck tea leaves? And for hours, I would be plucking tea leaves, talking to these, ladies whose kids were running around. And even though we did not speak the same language, we still connected. And in the end of the day, we would go and give the tea leaves. And the next day, my uncle would get a tea bag. And every morning when my mom and dad would be making the chai, I would remind them that tea is from my hard work. So it is, I think tea has such an important part. Every morning I get up, I have to have my chai. Otherwise, I just can't get going because it connects my history to who I am today. And it's just an amazing, amazing connector.
That's awesome. And I love that y'all have already told us a little bit about the vessels that you're drinking from. I mean, because, teacups have been one of the main things that we have collected for years at Thistle Farms, for years. I got into tea when we first opened the cafe, and we knew that it was part of our healing journey, that what we absorb is as important as the oils that we were putting on our skin. And the teas were just so all about injustice, not justice, and how so many of the people who were picking teas knew sexual assault, who stayed in poverty. And for us, for Thistle Farms, what we really wanted to do was continue to cultivate groups of women who were celebrating tea, especially the producers and the pickers. So what a beautiful way to start out today is to remember the women who have picked the tea leaves, that are bringing those right to us. That is perfect. Throughout the day, you're gonna see 5 different short videos from our global partners at Thistle Farms. We have now more, I think, than 30 partners around the globe. And we're highlighting 5 of the cup holds the world, and it holds the stories, and it holds the possibility of justice and freedom. So the first one we're going to see, the first video we're going to see is from Icarizi. It was our first global partner, and this global partner makes geranium oil, and they make eucalyptus oil and lemongrass oil and something else that I can't even think of. Oh, patchouli, which is making a huge comeback. Patchouli's making a huge comeback. Our partnership started in 2008, and I have sipped tea with many people from Thistle Farms, including our CEO, Hal Cato, right in the middle of the geranium field, and danced with them. Someday I'm going to dance with both of you, but let's watch this video and celebrate with them.
mbasha kubatangira mitiweri nkabasha kubambika nanjye aho nyuze hose avuga ati uriya mudamu yihesheje icyubahiro ameze neza. Ntabwo nagira gahomba, sinagiraga ijipo yo kwambara, sinagiraga igitenge, mbega muri make nari umuntu uteye ukuntu ntajya n'aho abandi bari. Ariko natangira akazi niteze mbere ndi umudamu usobanutse ku kwezi mpembwa 37. Ubwo mbega nuko ntanga mitiweri de sante, turi mu rugo turi abantu 5, turitunze nta kibazo ntawe usabiriza. Nkaba nabwira nk'abadamu biga muri za kabari harabusanga batamesa batunzwe n'uburitiro, ariko tweze umunsi iyo ugeze mu gitondo ndabyuka nkajya mu kazi, icyatanu cyane nkagitura, nkavuga ati nimba iminsi 30 irangiye 37 byanjye biri hariya ndabihenda.
Ubwo rero mu kirezi twakuyemo byinshi, mfitemo inka naguzemo, mfite isambu mu kwezi kwa 7 twaguzemo kubera ikirezi. Nuko umubyeyi wacu yatugire neza tukabona ubwizigame nk'abadamu bakora mu kirezi ejo heza tukaba turimo. Ubwo rero n'abari mu rugo cyo nabashishikariza nuko nabo baza nabo bakagira ubwo bwizigame nabo bakiteza imbere bakizigamira ejo hazaza habo nkuko natwe tuhafite.
Kuva ngeze mu kirezi naguze igitenge nasabirije, kuva ngeze mu kirezi abana banjye ntabwo bongeye kuva ngo ramwe ibigage cyangwa inzoga. Kuva ngeze mu kirezi abana banjye bamenye kunywa amata, kujya ku ishuri banyweye igikoma mu gitondo, saa 7 gasanga igikoma nagitetse, kuko niteje imbere. Hari icyo nabonye, amafaranga narayabonye, uri mu kabari ntiwabasha kufunguza kote.
That is so inspiring. And I hope everybody can chat about where they're from. I know we have people watching this from different countries, and to celebrate this International Day, we really want to know where people are tuning in from. This may be your early morning tea, or it could be a late afternoon or at nighttime. Step giving thanks. It's always a good way to begin, just in gratitude. And so what I know is that because of the importance of tea, its universality, the oldest cultivated beverage, the universal symbol for so many people for meditation, lavishness, stick-to-itiveness, all of that. We begin by giving thanks for the tea. And I was wondering if you guys can tell me what tea you've picked and where it's from and what you know about it and why you picked it. Will you teach us about your tea, you experts? Okay, Tanya, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Maneet, you go first. Your story is really great.
So the tea that I have picked, this is my teapot right over here. In India, tea is sold in this, but it's not painted or as fancy as this. But I mean, by now you guys will know how much I like color. But there is this young lady in Atlanta. She has a tea company called the Chai Box, and she sources black tea from Assam and Darjeeling. She gets spices from Kerala, and she has made a spice blend for me, which is called Maneet's Chai Party, which has rose and cardamom and ginger and cloves. And that's how I like my chai. And I brew it for a really long time with some milk and honey. And what I love about the entire process is that you put different ingredients together. And when you cook it, it makes that perfect cup of tea, which always makes me think that when you get people from different walks of life or different thoughts in a room and put them together and have a conversation, it always ends up in harmony and something absolutely beautiful. So that's my chai.
I love that. And I do believe that. I think that's how crafts and tea both are revolutionaries, because it calls us together and we fall in love, and then anything is possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tanya, what are you drinking?
Well, I was running out of the house and I forgot to bring my moringa tea that you sent me, which I really wanted. But I did remember to bring my beautiful teacup and saucer, a matching spoon that I met in Kazakhstan over, I think we were having tea and we were having some sweets and just connecting and talking about the differences and the similarities in our culture and our food. And as you both know, when you sit down with people for any period of time, you'll find out we have more similarities than differences. You know, we just all need to slow down and have a few words with each other, I think is really the key. And so I'm at my restaurant and we have Numi tea here and I have their green jasmine. So it was a great backup. I have that steeping and, you know, just looking forward to more conversation over tea with you women, with all women. I love supporting women in this world. We need each other. We need to, you know, really keep the sisterhood going so that we can all be strong together. And, you know, we are already individually brilliant and capable of so much and so much resilience that I think, you know, taking this day to reflect on that and all these great connections that we have through, as you said, Becca, meeting at the conference. And I enjoyed your words there. And Maneet and I met at a little mini conference called a boot camp. I think it was the first time we met, but we've crossed paths many times. And it's times, and with the limitations of COVID and travel, it's good to see you guys here.
Thank you. It's good to be here. And, you know, I'm drinking out of these brand new cups that I just received last week. And these are from Oaxaca, Mexico. The woman that makes them is 23 years old. And her father didn't believe that she could actually carry on the family tradition of molding this clay. It's 4,000-year-old tradition. Wow. And we there's a whole cooperative of women working on it, and they've stamped this little thistle. And the idea is that you know, part of her family has to leave when there's not enough work and when people aren't honoring these old traditions of the vessels that we drink from. And Maneet, it is so great to hear you talk about the unglazed cup and the earthiness of that, and that, you know, there is no lead because there's no glaze, and there's nothing wrong with the mud that we drink from. Yeah. And I think combining our tea with the earth is what I want, at least for this kind of day. It feels so holy to hold it to me. And I feel like if we could just, you know, remember the oldest stuff in the world and how it is we can honor that, it'll move us forward. We don't have to reinvent it. And I think that's what you both do so much with your hospitality in your work, is you're bringing back some of the most treasured traditions in new ways that are about justice. And I just am in love with it. And of course, I'm drinking, pure Moringa. It's from the women of it's called the Moringa Madres in Mexico. They brew this. It is one of the best healing foods, superfoods in the world, and it makes a beautiful tea. And we're going to see just a couple quick videos, and then we're going to steep some tea. So watch these couple videos celebrating women around the world.
Hi, my name is Gisela Morales, and I am from San Juan Cozala, Jalisco, Mexico. And I've been part of the Moringa Madres for 6 years, and now I'm the director. Moringa Madres project has been helping me not only for money, it has also provided me money for education for my kids. It has given me a lot of self-esteem. This Moringa Madres project, it has not only helped me, it has helped other women, young and old. Jasmine used to ride a bus for 15 miles, and she was getting ready to drop high school because she had no money. Now she's part of us, she's been helping us, and she has provide money for her education. Mari has been with us for over 4 years and has provided her money for her kids because she's a single mom. Vanessa is also one of our members that she was going to provide money for her high school. Maria has been with us now for almost a year, and she just loves being here and has also provided her money because it's very hard to get a job. Moringa is like a superfood. It's great, it's nutritious, it has a lot of vitamins, it has a lot of omegas, and it helps you with your immune system. That's the best part, it helps you in your immune system. I want to thank you all for inviting us to this tea party. I want to thank all the women helping women around the world. And on behalf of the Moringa Madres project, I want to thank you. I want to salute all the women. Thank you. Salud.
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 Hola, soy Inangulo desde Ecuador, parte de este proyecto de Mujeres y Bimbe, el mismo que busca que cada una de ellas puedan tener un ingreso económico. Aquellas mujeres que no tienen empleo, aquellas mujeres que lideran a sus hogares, mujeres que en algún momento de su vida pues no pueden tener un apoyo de nadie, pues es lo que buscamos, el bienestar de cada una de ellas.
Hola, mi nombre es Mariux Yepes. En este Día Internacional de la Mujer quiero expresar mi gratitud a aquellos amigos de Tennessee que han hecho posible este proyecto por medio del cual tenemos un trabajo donde podemos ayudar a nuestras familias.
Hola, les saluda Jimena Villasnais. El grupo Civimbe nos hemos reunido para felicitar a todas mujeres trabajadoras de distintos países.
Hola, soy Rosario Cundalaca. Pertenezco al grupo de Civimbe y me siento muy bendecida y agradecida con el grupo de Tennessee que hicieron posible que este proyecto se haga realidad. Gracias a ellos estamos donde estamos, con la ayuda para nuestros hijos, para nuestro hogar.
Bueno, les invito en este momento a tomar su taza de té. Vamos a brindar por nosotras, las mujeres, luchadoras, madres, emprendedoras, mujeres que cada día buscamos igualdad, mujeres que cada día luchamos porque esta sociedad nos trate como lo que somos, mujeres, parte de esa creación de Dios. Salud.
Salud.
Viva el Día de la Mujer.
Viva el Día de la Mujer.
Isn't that fun? That is such a fun way to celebrate. And I just want to say hi to Norm, who's joined us from Scotland, Raylene in Spokane, Washington. We have Seattle too, and Houston, Oakland, Portland, Maine, Barb at the Women's Shelter in Rochester, Minnesota. Sharon, the Minister of Tea, a Minister of Tea has joined us. We bow to you. Bow, 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 bow. And she's saying Golden Yunnan, how do you say that? Yunnan is her favorite. I can't say it. I don't know. But I will say we're ready for step 2, which is simple. We've given thanks for the vessels and for the tea, and now it's time to widen our circle. Any good person in hospitality knows that we invite more people in. And tea, it has that beautiful tradition. And so what I would like to invite you guys to do now is just think of someone who you wish you could share a cup of tea with. somebody you would like to invite into this circle, past or present, maybe somebody on this International Women's Day that is a woman who helped you cultivate your palate for justice, for freedom, and for truth. I don't know about, I mean, what are you thinking, Tanya? Who would you like to have a cup of tea with today to celebrate? And who can you invite into our circle and why?
Well, I've been thinking about my mother a lot lately. She passed away in 2015, but her birthday was week before last. And so she's just been on my mind and accomplished in the last 6 years. And to just see her sitting peacefully, enjoying a cup of tea would be really nice.
Was she a big tea drinker?
No, she would go back and forth between coffee and tea. But for me, I just would like to, I didn't see my mom just kind of sit and relax a lot and really enjoy, a moment. And it would be nice to just see her experience that.
I love that. Thank you. What about you, Maneet?
I would like to share a cup of tea with not one person, but all those incredible women, those tea pickers who I, who I used to, as a kid, not realize the gravity of them plucking these leaves, but not enjoying the cup of tea that they were responsible for creating. So just like I am just picturing myself sitting in those tea estates, maybe under a mango tree, and just drinking a cup of tea and just listening to their stories. And yeah, I would love to do that.
That's so beautiful. Yeah.
No, I also think we should invite Vice President Kamala Harris to tea.
Will she come?
I mean, we're only going to find out if we ask, right? That's the only way we're going to find out.
That is exactly right. Wouldn't that be amazing? Amazing. It was crazy that Kelly Clarkson did an interview with Dr. Jill Biden, and she invited a few of us to ask a question for Jill Biden in the East Room via video. And I asked her about how it is we can repair relationships. She has a PhD in education. She's got all these theories, and she basically said we need to sit down and listen to each other. So she needs to come have tea too.
That would be wonderful.
And I'm with you. I mean, if I could ever, my mom's been gone for, 28 years or something like that.
Wow.
And, she was one of the people that would drink a cup of Lipton tea and use the tea bag 3 times to get everything out of it. And, I love her. And I think she barely touched the rim of the garment, the hem of the garment on tea. She has no idea how amazing tea is and how it changes lives. And she still loved it, not even knowing hardly anything. We invite everybody to join us ceremony today. And always after we give thanks and after we invite people to join us, it's time to steep our tea and pour the water. Can you all teach us about what is happening to tea when it steeps? What does happen? Why is this magical?
Maneet, you probably know a lot more than I do.
When you're steeping tea, the hot water, it goes ahead and releases all of the flavors, the oils, and and especially if you have a mixture of different teas or different spices, then that is the moment that all of those flavors come together. So it's important when you're steeping teas, and it depends on the different kinds of teas, you have to let it sit for some time in water so that you get the actual flavor and the true potential of the tea leaves is released in the water.
It usually takes, for different kinds of tea, I think it takes different times, right?
Yeah.
And I think in that time, it demands us to have intention. You know, it makes you say, like, I can't just dip it in and take it out and then drink it. It's not like that. It's saying, whoa. And exactly what Tanya was talking about, there has to be a slowing down sometime. There has to be, or else, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but everybody I know right now has had free floating anxiety. I don't know if it's coming up on a year of a pandemic or everything is just now so different that we don't have our footing. But for me, what I hope my intention in this steeping, and I don't know what anybody else's intention is, but it would be to feel more grounded, more assured that what we're doing is the right thing, and that we don't have to keep thinking I have to invent more things while things have slowed down. But that's my hope. And I don't know what y'all are hoping or what your intention is for your steeping, but I would love to hear that.
Well, has been that I've had an opportunity to slow down and just, really look at things closely, get some clarity. I like to think that other people have too. There definitely have been some conversations that have opened up, especially since the movement. I just hope that we can maintain some of this pace. I know, we're a society that is so, gung-ho on being productive and thinking moving all the time means being productive, but you can be really productive by being still as well. Just thinking about things, being in the moment. So I don't know. I've always liked a combination of, I think, I grew up in suburbia, but I love the combination of city living and country living, because I just think we need space and time to slow down. It's important.
Any intention you have, Maneet?
I think that at times we are so quick to respond to a situation. I think that if, and I am guilty of it, more often than not, because it's like, okay, move it. But I think if we take the time to just think through our reaction, or think through how we would respond to a situation or a question or even a statement, take the time that it takes to steep the tea, to make the perfect tea, take that much time to think it through and empathize how would the other person feel with what you say or what you do. I think it would be a much kinder world. And I encourage people, just take the time, have the empathy, and think the amount of time it would take to steep the tea. Process that thought.
I love it. I love that, Tanya finds, the gifts within the pandemic, and you find the gifts within the waiting, that there's gifts in all of it. And that's what tea reminds us of, these gifts in all of it. And so our last step, it's easy. So what did we do? We gave thanks. Then we invited people in. Then we steeped the tea. And finally, we drink it. And it's not about whether you like the tea. Again, I think it really is about, can you appreciate everything about this tea in the world that comes to you in this cup? And for International Women's Day, I'd like to offer a toast. And if anybody's out there and you're with a group of women, please raise your glass and join me. And celebrate women around the world. Let us praise all the tea growers and the pickers and the producers who awaken our palates for justice. Let us honor the crafters and the artisans who offer beauty and economic freedom. Let us hearken to the voice that calls us from farm to table all the way to story. Let us bow to advocates and troublemakers who clear paths for new generations. Let us be brave enough to sip tea and claim there is healing from violence and oppression. Let us toast women who conjure a dream of freedom with more courage than fear. Let us raise our cup to the mother line that is love, that is the most powerful force for change in the world. Here's to you all. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. I feel like I need to have something in my cup. That is good. I just want to say Sue is drinking from her parents' wedding cup that celebrated their 70th anniversary 2 years ago, and she's lost both of them since then, and she's drinking a cup of tea. Sandra loved to have tea with a friend she had lost in the pandemic and would like us to remember all those who lost their lives in the pandemic. People are like Joyce are using great grandmother teacups. Jennifer Klinger, who is one of the amazing graduates of Thistle Farms and the director of volunteers, said, Sabimbe, I know those women and have had tea with them. People are just writing in all kinds of beautiful things about their parents. There's so many people who want to drink with their moms. Tanya, we are just a part of a larger group, aren't we?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome. That is beautiful. So, what we want to do is just ask you guys each one question, and then we're going to open it up just for a couple minutes. We don't have much time at all. Oh, but first we're going to see one of our friends, Abby, is going to offer us a video from London, where she with Thistle Farms co-founded Love Welcomes with a group of women in a refugee camp in Greece that have been our friends for about 4 years now.
Happy International Women's Day, everyone. My name's Abby Hewitt. I work for Love Welcomes and I live in the UK, just outside of London. Here I am in my kitchen, drinking my justice tea and thinking about all of you and wishing we could be together. When I think of International Women's Day and what it means to me personally, to Love Welcomes and our whole community, I think it's so interesting that it's called International Women's Day. We are such an international team. We share each other's cultures. We share each other's recipes. We eat together. We share ingredients. We cook together. We share creative skills from all over the world and bring it together. We learn from each other. We learn the best way of doing things from each other. And that's what makes us stronger. And so I just feel for today and for this year, my big mantra is we are better together than alone. And so thank you all for today. And I'm really looking forward to this conversation. Happy International Women's Day. Bye.
A few minutes for a discussion. We have a few minutes for a discussion. Sorry, I jumped the gun on that one. We have a few minutes for a discussion, and you're welcome to ask any questions in the chat, and we're going to get those fed to us. But before that, I have a question for you guys. And can you just talk a few minutes about what it means to have hospitality and justice linked for you guys in your professional and personal life? Hospitality and justice links for you guys.
Go ahead, Tanya.
Well, I mean, it's trying to think. I feel like, being able to share an experience with someone is a gift you give, but also something you get back. And, I was raised with a family that always reached out to, people who were away from their families, or, at church on Sundays, we'd go see the sick and shut-ins. They were sometimes elderly people who weren't able to get into church. or, you know, I think about myself in hiring people who needed second chances and, or needed opportunities. And I just think that hospitality is just connected to a just world, you know, just naturally. It's not something we have to make a great deal of effort to make happen. It's a very accessible, it's very accessible business, and it's very accessible for people to be hospitable if they know how to do it. Just offering someone a cup of tea can really open up a door for just pleasure and for conversation. So I always look at the simplicities of hospitality. I say to people, you know, it's not even about me cooking for people. It's just about me feeding people. And sometimes feeding them might be me opening up a bag of chips or putting out some cheese and crackers, or pouring a cup of tea.
We've had women come off the streets and change their lives forever over a bag of chips. Seriously. I mean, I really think it's amazing that people make it so complicated sometimes. And also people want to be this hero instead of what you're talking about, of being a good host and remembering some of that simplicity.
Yeah.
And what I think, though, when I think about that, is I think if you're always such a good host and you're setting the table, I think sometimes that also can kind of be lonely because you're not very often sitting down and joining the table. I don't know.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, I was just away for 12 days. I had the good fortune being invited to do a collaboration in Hawaii, as you know. And the best thing about that trip was that everybody took care of me and offered me hospitality, and I didn't have to. And it was just, it was not lost on me. It was such a gift because I am giving a lot, but I do get a lot out of being the host, and I do join in, you know, frequently. But it sure was nice to be on the other side.
Yeah. Wow. Maneet, how is it? You might want to respond to Tanya, not even answer the question because there's so much in there, but just about the link between hospitality and justice in your work and in your life.
I think, the foundation of hospitality is pretty much nourishment, right? It's the nourishment of, like when at the restaurants, when people come in, it is the nourishment of their stomach, right? And through that, there is a nourishment of the soul. And I feel so fortunate that, being in the hospitality industry and being, in the restaurant industry, the fact is that people get together, right? So there is, justice in people getting together where conversations are started. But even if you look at, in the kitchen, the fact that there is a platform for people to come together, to work, to provide nourishment for their soul. And the best part about the hospitality industry is that we are, a band of renegades, right? Like you can be anybody, and you need to be willing to work. You need to be willing to show up to make this amazing dysfunctional family, and we work together, and we we sit together, we talk about our community, we talk about our to just go ahead and nourish it. And that's why I think hospitality is such an integral part, because in a small way, in the hospitality industry, we are offering justice and equality to the community. And that's how slowly, one establishment at a time, we are hopefully just increasing the radius. And I think that's what makes it so exciting for me.
I just want to make sure, they'd love it, but I want to make sure you guys have a chance if you want to respond to each other, or there's any other really important things you want to be sharing with our tea sipping friends that you have a chance to make sure that you're doing that.
No, I agree with Maneet too, and it is sort of one person at a time, one one experience at a time. Just that's what it's going to take for us all to heal. Becca, I get so many compliments when I wear my Love Heals T-shirt around. I love that T-shirt, and it's just those little expressions and those moments of connections with people, just the small things. Pre-COVID, I might get in the elevator in my building and just, you just get in your elevator and you go to your floor. Now I'm making an effort to make sure I say, speak to everyone and greet them. I mean, we just need more of a connection to humanity with each other. So,
I agree with you,
we
Tanya.
can get through this.
Yeah, I think it is the small steps. At times, we look at a problem or we look at an issue and we want to come up with the macro solution to it.
Yeah.
And we forget the fact that we are one person, right? So if we start with small steps, if we start with baby steps, if we start with having tea with just one person who you think that needs that connection, right? You are just increasing that radius.
Yeah.
And that's what I keep on saying, start with baby steps, right? At least start. You have to take the first step by thinking that, oh my God, this problem is too big and it cannot be solved. You are already lost. So do even a small thing. And then just like, as you're sipping tea, just connect with one person. And that one person, you will have no idea what a big impact you've made in their lives.
And they on your lives,
Yes.
That's the beauty of it. It's that we're all changed and fed by it. And I think y'all make such good points, and it is in the small things. People want to know, like, how do I change the world? And it's like, how about you start with a cup of tea? How about you just do that? And people are asking, is there a way to stir the tea? Who are your favorite tea makers? All these beautiful questions. And I'd love to get to all of them. And what I want to do, though, first is to make sure I share this beautiful video of some of the graduates of Thistle Farms who had their own tea party. Tanya, when you were talking about wearing the Love Heals shirt, one of the women celebrated 2 years clean that's sipping tea at the tea party, Lee. And she said to me, I could never figure out what you meant by Love Heals. And then I realized what you meant was, can I trust you enough to allow love to work? I thought it was so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Can I trust you enough to let love do its work? And I think hopefully it is hospitality and being gracious hosts to one another that allows us to trust enough to allow healing to do the work. And I hope we are trustworthy advocates. I hope for all of us that we can continue to be trustworthy so love can do its work. So let's watch this video with these amazing women. I wish y'all could hear it. It's so fun.
First of all, my name is Krista Ferris, and I am a 2020 graduate of Thistle Farms Residential Program, Magdelen. I'm also a team leader in manufacturing. And we light this candle for the man or woman who's lost their way. We light this candle for the man or woman who's going to find their way home. And I'm a firm believer that we light that candle because we're the light. So I'm going to be reading out of Find Your Way, 20 Practices That Tie Us Together, written by survivors, advocates, and Becca Stevens. And I'm going to read number 1, and it's come together, and I believe it's perfect for today. No matter where we are better coming together than living separately. We weave our separate paths into community because even though there is brokenness, we long to live in hope. We come from prisons.
In my room reflected to where I was March 2nd, 2 years ago. And I came in so very broken. And before I could love, before I could understand what the whole love heals means, I had to learn to trust. And the trust piece, trust myself and trust in this place, that this place was going to do what I saw it do for Sheila, what I saw it do for Regina, what I saw it do for Cynthia, what I saw it do for so many, Gwen, what I saw it do for so many of my sisters that were out there with me. I had to trust that if that could happen for them, that it can happen for me. That I know the trust turned into love. The people that just loved me for no other reason than they just believed.
Let's make another toast. Ladies, for International Women's Day. I'd like to reach way back over in the Solar Grace to my love, welcome sisters. Happy International Women's Day!
I'm not muted.
Okay.
But how people who are still on the streets that they want to go back and drink tea with. And that's really what this is about, is drinking tea and welcoming the next woman home and saying, we're going to keep doing this one cup of tea at a time. We are giving away a set of 3 books, Maneet's, Tanya's, and my book, all about teas and flavors from the world and restaurants. And the winner that they drew is Bryn Robinson. Bryn Robinson won. Yay, so happy. So just so you know, we're going to give away one more set of books, and that's going to be for anybody that is willing to answer the survey so we can keep doing this better. I'm sure when Tanya gets going in anyway, but the survey helps us think about how to keep being creative, how to keep bringing more women together and drinking tea till, I don't know, till we float away to paradise. On behalf of everybody, thank you for joining us. Thank you for allowing justice to be a part of your life and your hope, even in the rubble after a year of the pandemic. Thank you, Maneet. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you all. Love, peace, and joy. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, Maneet.
We call it Thistle Farms because thistles are survival weeds. Thistles grow through concrete. They survive drought. I survived the abuse, the rapes, the beatings. I survived the addiction. So I'm a survivor. And the women at Thistle Farms come in from all sorts of families. Our stories are more alike than different. My story is not any better or any worse than anyone else's story.
I went from having my own place to living out of a car in the Walmart parking lot to being trapped in this back room where this person could kill me and nobody would know. He would say that. He was like, if I was to kill you, nobody would know. And it's true. It's so true. Nobody would know.
My mother had the love. My father, it was a different story. He was an alcoholic and it was abusive. I had uncles and there was sexual assault as well.
And there was a lot of abuse in my home, physically, sexually. I quickly turned to drugs.
I was in addiction for 20-some odd years, and I started dealing with abandonment. And then one thing led to another. I went from snorting cocaine to smoking, and the smoking part is what really got a grip on me.
He beat me so bad that I went bald on the back of my head, the top, lost a little bit of hair. And that is when I was like, I'm done. I cannot live like this. I cannot live like this anymore. I just can't do it. I am already dead. I'm just breathing somehow, but I'm already dead.
It was impossible for me to get clean in the same community that I used in. And so all the attempts to get clean, and when I was really, really hopeful, and I would go to different halfway houses, it just wasn't enough for me.
Until I became a resident at Magdelen Thistle Farms, where it addresses everything that you've thought that was pulling you down, and why and how, and help you build it back up again.
At Thistle Farms, we believe that women deserve a second chance at life. But the amazing thing to me is many of the women we serve, this is their first chance at life. None of the women we serve at Thistle Farms ended up on the streets by themselves. It took a whole bunch of broken systems and broken communities that rolled out a red carpet to the streets, to the juvenile jails, and then to prison.
But when the women came into the residential program, they were getting clean, they were getting their lives back, going to court, getting their records expunged, getting relationships back with their families, but they were dirt poor. We lose everything we own in our addictions. So when they went out to look for jobs, nobody would hire us because of our background. So Becca Stevens started Thistle Farms, the social enterprise. So there we make bath and body products. And on the back of every product, it will say heal, employ, empower. And it will say this lotion is made by the women of Thistle Farms. The women make it, the very women that make the product benefit from it.
The model is pretty simple. Come live for 2 years rent-free with no authority living in the house. If women have space and time to heal and they have a good job, they do amazing recovery work. We can help them achieve economic independence, which is a critical tool on anyone's journey of recovery. Not only do they heal themselves, but they heal their families and the broken systems that help put them there on the streets. I think all of it works because this is about community, about women finding community and finding their place so that they can do the work they need for healing.
Thistle Farms healed me, they employed me, and they empowered me.
I can actually feel today, and like they say, you gotta feel and heal. If it wasn't for Thistle Farms, I don't think I would even know how to process the feeling part, much less be able to heal from it.
Without Thistle Farms, I would be in the grave. I would be dead. I am a new woman. I am alive.
There is a greater good, and the more you love, the more God loves you. I bought into Love Heals.
I know the ending of my story now. So yes, I am so happy and I am so grateful.
Since 1997, Thistle Farms has helped hundreds of women through our residential programs, through our justice social enterprises, and we have helped thousands of women across the globe find work, find community, and find avenues for healing. Our goal right now is to continue to grow the movement, to continue to grow, and to invite you to join us in this great mission that we're on. We believe that love heals, and we believe love is the most powerful force for change in the world.